Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
In times of old, in times of new, there's a God to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field, and you will.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and entertainment. I'm your host, Israel Wright. With me, as always, is...
I'm Cameron Fath. You guys know me, and you love me more than Israel.
What?
And it's very exciting today because we have a special guest with us. It's been a while since we brought someone on to join us,
Right.
And you know what? Let's just...
To share in our glory.
To share in the glory. But let's just jump right into it. Who are you and what are you doing
Hey,
here?
hey, I am Jennifer Brofer, a Marine Corps veteran. Where to start? Joined the delayed entry program September 15th, 2001. Went to boot camp 2 days before my 19th birthday in January of the following year. And went to Parris Island like all women Marines did at the time. And I decided to become a journalist. So I was a combat correspondent, kind of like the Joker in Full Metal Jacket, if you're familiar.
Good reference.
Yep.
Great reference. You're in the right place.
So I was my own little Joker. I went to MOS school, and then I was deployed in 2010 to Afghanistan.
Okay.
So that was fun. And then I got out in 2012. And then all throughout my 10 years, I was deployed, or I was stationed at first Parris Island for 3 years. So the hardcore. Washington, D.C., also hardcore. And then Camp Pendleton for my final duty station. So
Nice. Pendleton's nice. I
Yeah,
like Pendleton.
it's
next to
huge.
It's huge. Have
Huge.
you ever been to Pendleton?
Well, you drive through it
Oh, yeah.
on your way down to San Diego.
You pass the two boobies.
Yes, the
and
two
then
boobies.
you know you're about to be in Pendleton.
yeah.
Yeah, and the boobies are just, what is it, nuclear?
They're
Or it's
giant
power?
silos.
Some kind of
It's silos.
industrial,
They just
silo.
look like two
But the
boobs on the
California,
side of the
if you're
road.
from California, you just know it
If you
as
s-
the two boobies.
Yeah, if
The
you've
two
seen
boobies.
the first Naked Gun movie,
Yeah.
that was Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, he drives by.
That's cool.
So,
how
yeah.
did you like your time? Did you get the job you wanted?
I did.
You did. Good for you in the Marine Corps. That's a rare occurrence.
I was very fortunate. Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't have joined if I hadn't been able to do that job, that particular MOS. So combat correspondent, 4341. They had one spot left, apparently, and I got
Every
it.
time. Yeah.
Your recruiter
They told me
just
that
told you
too.
that
They
you
would
had to
give
sign
one
up.
spot
Yeah.
for an option
Right.
40. You want it. I was
Yeah,
like, what's
never
that?
go open contract ever. Actually, I worked with a couple journalists, Marine journalists, who were open contract, and they just happened to get that job, and they should never have gotten that job.
That's a common
yeah.
occurrence as well.
One dude would like make up quotes and like download photos from Google and say,
so he's
"Here you go."
He's a regular
Sergeant."
journalist. Yeah.
Yeah, he was terrible. I
He
wanted
was
to
into
fire
fake news
him.
before it was cool.
But
Yeah,
you
he
couldn't
worked for
fire
Vice.
anyone, in the Marines, really. I mean, I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just like not have you write articles because nothing you write is anyway. It was leadership challenge. But otherwise, I liked it. I got to meet a lot of cool people, especially deployed. Got to go on some cool convoy missions and tell people stories. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Why did you join? Like, take us through like your thought process of like, I'm going to be a Marine.
Look,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be glorifying. You don't have to have like
it's
wave
really-
the American flag.
It's not glorified
If
at
you
all.
wanted a
Patriotic.
Dodge Charger, just say that.
Yeah, so the Dodge Charger. Charger is so accurate, but no, not me. People I was in the Marines with, they definitely got the Dodge Charger. But I joined because I went to Six Flags Over Texas, and they were doing the Chin Up Challenge, and so I did the flexed arm hang that the women did at the time, and I just wanted to brag. It didn't even want the T-shirt. I just wanted the bragging rights. So I, was doing the flexed arm challenge, and I think I almost broke some record, and I was about to walk away, and the recruiter was like, whoa, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I want to go to college and be a graphic designer or a photographer. She's like, oh, how are you going to pay for it? I said, my dad's a doctor. So.
Yeah, I'm okay. And there you go. You just defeated the first boss.
And she let me walk away.
I was such a brat. And so then, she's talking, I told her I want to be a photographer, and she's like, oh, did you know we have public affairs and you could be a journalist? And, so she actually introduced me to one of the marketing and public affairs Marines that just happened to be there that day. And I talked to her for like 30 minutes or an hour. And I mean, my friends were there waiting for me that whole time.
Well, I mean, Six Flags, the lines are that long anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
You weren't wasting any time.
So by the time I finished talking to her, I basically decided that I was going to join the Marine Corps and get life experience.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's my story. But I never got the Dodge Charger.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's good. I got the V6 Mustang. That was me.
I got a used Honda Civic.
Okay, good.
It was very, and
very practical, very dependable.
Paid it off with my re-enlistment bonus. So.
Oh, what's that? We didn't get that. Did you get a re-enlistment bonus?
No. I extended about 6 months just so I could get my E6, but that was about it.
Yeah.
They paid off my college.
Yeah.
So I went to college and then I joined the Army.
Oh, that's smart.
It's okay. They didn't offer me a re-enlistment bonus. It was weird because when I started getting privates when I was in the Ranger Regiment, they got re-enlistment bonuses. So obviously the hazing went way harder than it was. It's like, you think you're better than me?
Oh my God.
But no, I'm just kidding. But it was, I got a re-enlistment bonus from the National Guard, and that was cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Very nice. I'm in the California State Guard now.
State Guard?
State
Still.
Guard.
Okay. Have you been in since you left?
No, I joined last November, so during the pandemic.
Okay.
What's the difference between the National Guard and the State Guard?
So the National Guard, the State Guard is not a warfighting force.
Oh.
The entire purpose is to respond to state emergencies, like earthquakes, wildfires, earthquakes, that kind of thing. So if there's ever a state emergency, California State Guardsmen will step up. They're ready to respond.
I signed the wrong paper. They tried to deploy me to Poland the other day, and I said, no.
I
have a life now.
State Guard does not deploy, none of that stuff. So, one of my Marine buddies told me about it, and I was just itching to get back into uniform, and even though I'm now in an Army uniform, so it's a little different.
It's more comfortable. A lot of boot options. Huh?
Yeah. I can tuck in the boot now.
Yeah, so exciting.
It's different.
Is there anything that you miss about your time in? Like I miss like honestly like shooting the guns and like going on training trips and stuff.
The
going to
rifle
schools
range
and stuff.
was always fun. I loved doing. I mean, like when I did corporal school, we went out in the field and played like war games and just stuff like that.
Slarped. Yeah,
what was
live action role play.
Yeah, we basically
soldier
LARPed.
Live action role play.
We LARPed. Yeah, it was
That's
great. Awesome. So stuff like that.
Well, that's great.
And the people, but.
Well, I'm glad you had a great time. That's fantastic.
Good. Yeah,
it's always nice to hear positive stories. A lot of people come out and they got some salt on them.
Recruiter lied to me. This sucks. I hate America.
Yeah, but it sounds like you did the best you could and got exactly what you wanted. So
I did my
kudos
best
to you. But I think if you want to dive into what we're going to talk about,
so
today,
Jen, we have you on.
we
We have an ulterior motive for having you on the show today.
We're going to expose
today's
something.
episode is don't call it a chick flick. So we're going to be looking at talking about some of our favorite women in pop culture who are military or military adjacent.
Okay,
and
I
stuff
love
like
it.
that. So the first one we want to talk about is Maya, Jessica Chastain's character from Zero Dark 30. Now she's technically a CIA agent, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
She's spearheading the Osama bin Laden case, right? If I'm correct. Is she the one with the red hair?
She's the one with the
main
red
character.
hair.
The camera pointing at her
love
most
her.
of the movie.
I'll be honest, I fell asleep during that movie.
What?
Yeah, I fell asleep. And everyone's like, gonna kill me right now. But I fell asleep and then I woke up during the Dev Grew scene and I was like, okay, maybe.
Okay. Starring Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was him at the time. I didn't know Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's in that movie?
He's on the
like
team.
in the helicopter, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, the last scene is great. And then like when they bomb was it the embassy or where they're sitting at the table and all of a sudden the explosion happens? And
Yeah.
yeah.
When did that come out?
That was a long time ago.
I remember seeing it at the time, but I haven't seen it since.
What was that, like 2010?
Yeah, it was sometime around there.
2012.
But I did go on last night and watch her big blow up at her boss for not give me the team I need.
Okay, cool.
And it's so good. I love Jessica Chastain. She's a goddess. She can do no wrong.
She's great. She really does a good job of this. She kind of, she's kind of like, people like this in her life. Like she's really driven, and she's very smart. And she's not like super emotional. Like I love at the end when she's flying away, they're like, where do you want to go? We'll take you anywhere. And she gets on and then she finally lets go. But the whole movie, she's like having all these traumas and stuff like that. And she's like pushing forward. She's not letting it, she's got a mission and stuff. She's all about this mission. And then when they finally get it at the very end, she kind of lets down her guard a little bit. But I know, people like that are just really driven and very like stoic, and stuff.
Yeah. Now, did we ever hear what the real Maya thought about Jessica's performance?
Well, I didn't know it was based on a real person. I thought it was a fictionalized. I thought maybe her character was just like an avatar to represent the entire. Like I'm sure there were hundreds of people in the CIA and FBI looking for Bin Laden, and then the team went in and stuff. So I thought she was just like kind of a representation, an amalgamation of a bunch of different people. I don't know.
Obviously, I know the movie's based off a real event. I didn't know that. Yeah, because. You got to point to that, just basically saying like, hundreds of people worked on this. It's like, we're doing a small team, 3 to 4 people.
Yeah,
take down Osama.
Going after Bin Laden.
Roll all these people into one person.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Played by Jessica Chastain.
Now, by the way, Jennifer, if at any time somebody comes to mind, we got a list and stuff. But if you think of somebody that it's like one of your favorite female representations in movie, just go for it.
Oh, I mean, when you say female representation in movie, I go to. Like the G.I. Jane type.
Sure, Demi Moore, G.I. Jane, yeah.
Which at the time, they didn't make women shave their head. But
Navy SEAL.
Yeah, but I don't know, just something so badass about her doing. Do you guys remember seeing her do the crunches from the pull-up bar?
Sure. Like her feet like hooked up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I could never do that. But I don't know. I just think of her, when I think
they weren't doing that at Six Flags that day.
No, they weren't doing that at Six Flags. No, I would have run away if they made me do that.
They would have lost a good war correspondent.
Yeah.
They probably knew,
Yeah, they knew I couldn't do that. But yeah, G.I. Jane, she's badass.
No, she is. I'm glad you mentioned that because she was in our honorable mentions, so you brought her to life. So good for you.
Oh, awesome!
You're in the ballpark.
You're in the ball. You're right there. Same mindset. You want to? I'll bring up. Well, the next one.
I know which one I want to talk about. But you go first.
But it's next on the list, and I'll let you handle that just because that's like your baby, and the viewers probably can.
I'm just afraid that everyone's going to get so sick and tired of me talking about
this. I am. So, but you can probably guess.
But I'll never stop.
Anyways, I'll bring up someone because I'm hooked on this series right now. She's not military, though, but I would have her right next in my foxhole if you ask me.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
The Walking Dead. Have you watched The Walking Dead?
I have watched it. I watched up until season 5.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Then maybe. Actually, she starts to come out. So Carol, the short-haired
Carol
is badass, man. She
was she married to Glenn? Is that
no,
okay?
No, that's Maggie. Carol was the one in the first season who you're like, why is she even alive?
Oh,
because she like has this crazy. She's the one that gets beat on by her husband and is like super submissive and like scared.
Yeah,
and then she has this giant character development that you like see unfold, and it comes out in the jails when she's like teaching all the kids. Instead of like Rick goes off and he becomes like a pacifist and he's like no guns and like
when did he become a pacifist?
After right before the governor or right after they beat the governor.
I think that's when I stopped watching.
Okay.
Was right before that season.
Oh yeah, Carol. Yeah.
I mean, I heard what happens to poor Glenn. I think.
Yes, that was season 7. Man.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
I didn't want to see any of that.
It's okay. Yeah, that was probably the gnarliest scene I've ever seen on television.
Ugh.
I was like, wow.
Like, how do you got to play Glenn like that?
I don't know. And I've scraped the skin off dead bodies, and I'm like, damn, that was brutal. And but no, Carol, she in the prisons like. Rick says no guns and they're all pacifists, and then all of a sudden she's like, instead of teaching all the kids that they have like bedtime stories and teaching them. She gives them knives and teaches them how to like stab and kill and defend themselves.
That's awesome.
And then she like becomes this like war fighter of a woman, but she masks it. She makes everybody think that she's like super like submissive, and like even when they go past in the season, they meet new communities. She's like baking. She like goes with the other women and she's like baking and showing them. She's like, oh, the secret recipe is beets. That's how it gets to sweeten the cookie. And all of a sudden, she'll go behind everyone and just like kill like 30 people just with effortless.
I love that.
Yeah, no,
She flies under the radar. She really came into her own then.
She did.
She's very
like,
Spec Ops.
She is very.
Now, what about Michonne with the sword?
Michonne, she's cool as hell. I find her a little too emotional though. Like when somebody dies, like Carol like goes like spits in their direction and just goes forward and kills the person that kills them. But Michonne like breaks down and like cries and like gets all like shell shocked. But Michonne is really cool in that because the sword alone sold it for me. Honestly, best zombie fighting weapon.
Zombie pets, like
she'd cut off their arms and their jaws so they couldn't, and they just like stand there and she'd just leave them out. She'd use them as like pack horses, you know?
So those two were actually her boyfriend and her boyfriend's friend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So she did that to them. And it's like, she like started off super badass and then she like, her and Rick ended up together, which I think was so weird.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was like, all right.
Yeah, but sorry, I'm just fanboying. I'm like, me and my girlfriend are so invested in this series right now.
Are they? Is it still going?
It's still going.
Okay, so when I stopped watching season 5, I was dating someone at the time who didn't like that show, didn't like zombie shows, so I stopped watching it, and that's probably when I should have started watching it. But
it picks up, and like season like 4 on, you're like nail biting every episode. It's really good.
Damn.
Is Daryl still around?
Daryl is still around.
Yeah.
Daryl's kind of a prick now, though. But I'm only on season 8.
Is that the Norman Reedus guy?
That's the guy who has the crossbow.
Yeah, Norman. I met him at a convention years ago.
Did you?
Freaking awesome.
Oh,
it
that's
was
cool.
like the best day of my life.
Really? That's super cool.
Yeah.
You have a poster that...
Oh, yeah. Well, Death Stranding. He's a video game called Death Stranding, and he's the main character, like, you know, and stuff. So, but that's my connection to Norman Reedus.
Oh, so yeah, you know. He's in a video game. That's cool.
All right, it's time.
It is time.
It's time.
It's time to talk about my favorite character of all because it's in my favorite movie of all time, Sigourney Weaver's Ripley from Aliens.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I knew you had good taste.
And she's a cat lover.
Yeah, Jonesy.
She's badass. And I will say,
technically not in the military, just so you know.
Technically not.
She's a trucker.
but I would definitely have her on my team if I could. I mean,
Dude.
Yeah, and to your point that we were talking about, that if they had just listened to her when she tried to prevent the infected individual from coming on the Nostromo.
Yeah, she had reservations. Yeah, exactly.
If they had just quarantined the guy, then they wouldn't have had the entire series at all.
Yeah. Well, that's the darn company, man, just telling them what to do because they set down on LV-426 on company orders to get the xenomorph because they knew it was there or they knew something was there. They didn't care about him. They just brought him on. You know, that's how she finds out. You know, no, but anyway, Ellen Ripley is amazing because she's survived all these crazy things. She has a great like growth, throughout. Well, I mean, I guess maybe the first 3 movies because technically in Alien Resurrection, it's like her clone in the future and something like that. But it's not the same Ellen Ripley. But in Alien, she's amazing because like she's so traumatized by the events of the first movie, and her daughter has died. She jumps ahead. She sleeps for 57 years, and then as she's surrounded by these incompetent boobs, Lieutenant Gorman, she takes charge. She starts taking charge, and stuff. And so she is a commander. She is a leader and stuff. But she at first she's like traumatized by her stuff, but she overcomes that. And then there's even like a wonderful like mother-daughter kind of story with her and Newt, so she kind of gets the daughter that she never got to have. And then Newt dies in Alien 3, and I hate that movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. How does she die? She's like in the pod or something.
Well, in Alien 3, they crash land on this like prison planet.
You've made a dire mistake here.
Why did you ask the question?
Why do we ask?
I mean, 5 hours later. So and then basically they just kill all the other characters. Lance Henriksen's character, Newt and Hicks and stuff. They all die right away, and it's just her. She shaves her head, and she's on a prison planet. Blah blah blah. So nobody cares about.
I will say one thing about Ripley's character, which is different from a lot of the sort of badass military characters that may be overly sexualized in film, but her character is not overly sexualized, which I appreciate. She's just feminine and badass, and she's, not dressed ridiculous. Like, you've got Jill Valentine.
Yeah.
I was about to. That was our
got
next
Jill
one.
Valentine. She's
There we
next
go.
on the
Let's
list.
transition into this one. Every time she's just naked. She's just naked.
She's
all
wearing
the
a
time.
She is
short
not naked.
skirt and is like really just a little bit of a ridiculous outfit. Like, but she's great. She's never missing a shot. She's just like
Depending on who's playing her,
killing all the zombies. But it's like, are you really comfortable in that? I don't know.
All that leather.
Now, let's give her a little bit of credit. Like in the first 2, I think she's in kind of normal Stars gear. In Resident Evil 3, she's definitely in a skirt. She's definitely in civilian clothing and stuff like that.
It's hot, so sex sells.
For all time.
For all of time.
If there was no economy, there would still, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many Resident Evil movies are there now?
How many movies are there?
Yeah, there's at least 6, 7.
I think
now.
at least 6.
At least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
Well, going to a little bit more authentic character. Have you seen Megan Levy?
Okay, so
Kate
I've
Moss.
not seen the movie, but I watched the trailer.
Okay.
And it made me cry.
It made you cry just
and I couldn't. I
that's
think
'cause there's a
I
dog
think that's
in it.
why I couldn't watch the movie, is because it's too authentic looking.
Mm-hmm.
It's very modern, and man, it's hard to watch those. Like
Oh, the ones that are very
the
authentically
newer
portrayed?
ones. Yeah,
They do
like-
a good job. They're doing a better job of getting at least like production design and costume design for most movies, not a lot.
yeah. The production value is very good, and I mean they've got.
Especially with a very accurate portrayal. Like, if you have a good military advisor on there that knows
Yeah.
what they're doing, that makes all the difference in the world.
It really
'Cause, like,
does.
one thing, at least from like a veteran perspective, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I put money that I'm not, is that when you watch a movie that has any military thing, if something's wrong, you're immediately disconnected.
Yeah,
You're like, this is ridiculous. You're like,
Yeah.
that's not true.
And it
And
can
instead
be-
of focusing on the story, you're focused on their like
Exactly.
imperfection in the uniform or
it's usually
something.
some dumb uniform.
Yeah,
thing.
it is.
Yeah, the
You know?
uniforms are.
Or like even in the Tomorrow War, the new Chris Pratt film.
I like that one. It was entertaining.
They had some kind of weird weapons configuration that was like you had a scope and an iron sight, and like it was just like that's not realistic.
Yeah, and it takes away from it. It
Yeah.
kind of ruins it for
a
you.
little bit.
That's like in the new Mortal Kombat, there was big debate, and like a lot of the veteran community was super upset because they had screenshots from the film of like dudes dressed up portraying Rangers, and they like the Ranger scroll was even wrong, and like they were wearing like airsoft equipment that you can get at like Big Five. And like everyone was just distraught. No matter how good the movie might have been, and like the action sequences could have been so cool, and like they could have, done like a Tenet type of thing. But literally, everybody freaked out, and they're like, "I'm not watching this movie."
Yeah, they do this thing. I'm sure you've seen movies where like if they want to make somebody awesome, they just say they were whatever. They say he's a former Marine, she's a former
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Yeah, no backstory. They're just like, how do I?
They don't know what that means. They just know that within the culture, that sound, there's a mystique about them. So like, well, we want to add this layer of character, quote unquote, to them. So we'll just say, oh, he's ex-special forces. They don't even know what that means,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've met a lot of dudes that are in the unit that slipped by through the cracks. So just because they were that title doesn't mean they're qualified. Let me tell you.
Fair.
Fair
Yep.
enough. Fair. That's good. But yeah, Megan Levy, I haven't seen it.
I haven't
It's
seen
for the
it
same
yet.
reason.
We're
Just because
just
dog
being a bunch of
movies.
posers.
Dog
There's
movies.
explosions.
Oh, you don't think you could take it? You don't
No,
think-
dude.
I definitely could not take it.
We just did an episode, Tearjerkers, and like watching Will Smith's dog die, and
Oh my
I Am
God.
Legend
Oh.
is like
I die
Yeah,
every
it's not
time.
good.
If there's an animal that dies, I'm sadder than if a human dies.
One thing I will say about Megan Levy is that working with like K9 in it, it's like the connection between dog handler and dog is about the same as it is between person to person. It's like that dog is literally part of your team, even though it's a tool. Like, because we use the dog as like flashbangs sometimes. So it's like, well, if we have somebody in a room, we'll literally grab the dog and toss it in the room like a flashbang would, and the fur missile would go and take the
fur missile.
The fur missile
Even
would
that
go and
sounds
take.
cute.
Yeah, but even though these dogs are like programmed tools and machines, when you're not in that environment and it's just like you're chilling in the ready room and it like literally jumps up on your laps and starts licking you, you're like, oh my God. It's like, take my guns, just don't take this dog.
Now, let's jump ahead a few hundred years into my territory, which is the future. Let's talk about Star Trek Voyager, Kate Mulgrew, Captain Janeway. Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. Yes. Salute, yes.
She's great. I will admit that I was going to watch Voyager all the way through, but I had just finished Next Generation. And after watching that for so many seasons, I felt like I couldn't watch Voyager because I felt like I was cheating on Captain Picard. And I was in love with him. So
I will let you guys
there's a
take
lot
this
to
one,
love.
'cause I don't know.
I was in love with Captain Jean-Luc Picard. So I
dreamy.
I didn't watch Voyager, but I did see like lots of clips, and Kate Mulgrew is really awesome.
I watched I haven't watched the whole series, but I got through like 4 seasons of it. It had 7 seasons total.
New on Curiosity Stream,
I'm James Burke. I'm going to take you on a journey through time.
James Burke's visionary series returns, reimagined for our time.
Now, this is all uncharted territory.
The Washington Post hails Burke as one of the most intriguing minds in the Western world. The New York Times raves he careens from one great moment in history to another.
Where do we want to go from here?
Experience all new connections.
So what's the next connection?
With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
So I had a pretty good dose of Kate Mulgrew as Captain Janeway. She's good. It's hard to how do you play a leader? Like, how do you have that? Like, the captain has to have like this kind of authority behind like a feeling. They can't just like say commanding words and stuff. And that's hard to do. And I thought Kate Mulgrew did a really good job of like she was being authoritative, and then she was able to be soft as well. And in a way that I think maybe Captain Picard or some of the other male captains couldn't. I don't know, that kind of maternal quality.
Let me ask you, based off your experience, because you went through the corporal's course and everything, and you see it and you hear about it. A woman in a leadership role, especially with men underneath them. Do you find it is more difficult, correct? Just because there is that kind of just like, I don't want her to tell me what to do. Because if you're very firm as a man, you're seen as like a hard ass, and like you're like, okay, well, it's like demanding respect, right? But if a woman is a real hard ass, they're kind of seen as a B word there.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's
don't hold back.
In your experience, is that true, or how did you find ways around that? Or
so because when I went through corporal school, I was a senior corporal. I was about to pick up sergeant. So I was actually in charge of my platoon of corporals, and it was really challenging because there were some male Marines who just didn't want to do what I told them to do.
Lady. Yeah, they didn't want to listen to
like
a lady.
I had to even inspect them and and go through all inspect their uniforms before the gunnery sergeant would. And some of them were a little salty. But my the gunnery sergeant and the sergeant in charge, they were like, no, you need to like step into your power. And they were like giving me the speeches and like, no, you're gonna be president of the United States one day, Brofer. They said that. I was like, okay, all right, I believe in myself now. So like it took them giving me the speech for me to really like step into that, because it was so overwhelming. And
it was
it was like 30 or 40 dudes, and I'm like, okay, I'm like one of 2 women, and I'm in charge of these people. So yeah, it was challenging, but I made it through. So
what would you say is something you learned? Did you learn anything kind of in the, anything that you've maybe taken with you beyond that, and kind of life lessons?
Yeah, I remember something that stuck out was don't expect, inspect. So if you if you tell someone to do something, you can trust that they'll do it, and or you can go in and inspect and make sure they did it correctly.
It's like a trust but verify.
Yeah.
That's what they said to me. They're
Trust
like,
but verify.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, because
very good diplomacy.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they were like, oh, make sure that they have all of their gear ready for tomorrow's hike. And I said, okay. So I said, okay, this is the gear list, guys. Make sure you have everything. They're like, okay. And then lo and behold, someone didn't have something on the list. And they're like, did you inspect them? I said, no. They said they had it.
Grown men, apparently.
He's like, don't inspect, don't expect, inspect. So I was like, okay, gunnery sergeant. Yes.
You got it, man. Cool.
Yeah. That's a. I had a really profound thought and it totally left me. So
Man.
it'll come later when it doesn't matter.
Something about a gear list and
Yeah, more mental puzzles. You need to work on that.
Yeah, I gotta do my mental exercises. Name all the capitals from the different states. And stuff.
Exactly. Let's go. Texas.
Texas, Austin.
There you
yes,
go. Okay.
correct.
That's all I need.
All right, you got it. That's awesome. Do you have any final thoughts or any final caveats to our discussion here? Chris, I know you might have one.
I just have a question. So, like, whenever we were coming up with the idea for this episode, it wasn't, I mean, obviously we want to celebrate, like, kind of the badass women that show up in pop culture, because I don't think they probably get enough credit. But, like, what is it about that? That, like, what, it's more than just the fact that it's just a woman in the military or a woman in like an action movie or something. Because me personally, I just watched the Black Widow movie, and I thought the action sequences felt, I don't know, it was like more thrilling. Like watching Atomic Blonde, it's more thrilling. And I don't know if it's because it's
Sucker Punch.
if it's people in a situation that typically you wouldn't expect, but I just wanted to kind of know your thoughts on why that might be.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's something that we don't normally see. We're used to seeing, men in these types of roles, these action-packed, gun-toting, kill the bad guy roles, and we don't see that from women a lot. So I think when that movie that type of film does come out, it's like, oh, it's novel. So I think, especially if it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
So for instance, the Megan Levy, even though I didn't actually see that movie, stories like that, I think, are interesting, especially, and from a producer standpoint, like I am really attracted to those stories that are based on real badasses. Like I actually,
the underdog.
Yeah, there's this woman who I met. She's actually from Austin as well, and she was a helicopter pilot, and her helicopter was shot down in Afghanistan in 2009, I believe, and she was injured, and she was trying to go into another combat type role, but she was turned down because she was a woman. So she sued the Secretary of Defense to repeal the
Bold move, Cotton.
Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. So she sued the Secretary of Defense to repeal the combat exclusion policy. And so now, women are now able to go into these combat roles in part because of her efforts. So I think you're going to probably see a lot more of these types of films. And I'm excited to see them. Although it might take me a little longer to see them if there's explosions. But yeah, and another type of, one thing I'll bring up is like there's actually a story about a Civil War soldier. It's a woman who disguised herself as a man to serve in the Civil War.
Didn't she? Sorry,
It's based off a true story.
Yeah, it's based on a
Lord of
true
the
story.
Rings.
The Buffalo Soldiers.
Lord of the Rings. Based on
Lord
a
of the
true
Rings.
story.
Yeah. So like those types of stories, like I really admire, and I hope we see more based on a true story. Films about badass women.
Yeah.
I would love to see. Isn't she she's the first woman to win the Medal of Honor? Like
So-
she didn't get recognized at the time, but
I looked this up actually yesterday because of the Courage Under Fire film.
Yeah.
So Meg Ryan in that film is like up for the Medal of Honor posthumously. And then I looked up, has any woman ever won the Medal of Honor? And there's one woman from the Civil War. She was an Army surgeon named Dr. Mary Edwards
This
Walker.
is the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
And she was awarded the Medal of Honor for being an Army surgeon, and she was also a POW for 4 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
and
badass.
they later took it away And because they said, oh, she wasn't worthy, but then they reinstated it.
Oh, yeah.
So she's the
Posthumously.
only woman to receive the Medal of Honor.
Yeah, see, now that's a story I'd love to see.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just
Right?
like that. It writes itself,
Right.
Like, because it's like she actually did these things. She actually had these hardships.
Yeah.
She actually overcame. You know, I love that.
Starring Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, starring Jennifer Brofer.
You're right.
I mean, if just looking throughout history, you might, unfortunately, you need a magnifying glass to really find these badass women. And we actually, we reviewed in Gameology the Call of Duty Vanguard that's coming out. And one of the characters in the squad is based off a actual person of history.
She's a Russian.
Yeah, Lyudmila Pavlichenko,
Yeah.
and she's nicknamed Lady Death, and she fought for the Red Army in World War II and has, what was her confirmed? 309 confirmed kills as a sniper in her role, which is made her the
Whoa.
deadliest woman sniper in all of history. And like, you don't hear these things, and it's nuts.
I would love to see a movie about her.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, we have like Enemy at the Gates,
Like
right?
the female Carlos Hathcock.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's her story?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, at the end of the day, I know there's been a lot of opposition about like incorporating women into combat roles, and it's an extremely debated topic right now.
It is, yeah.
And I mean, from my side of the view is like I like I was telling you before we started, I went to Ranger School with multiple women. They graduated. You know, one of my favorite people in that school, her name was Moore. And unfortunately, she didn't make it through. But I went through Darby with her, and I caught up to her in mountains. And like, she was one of the toughest people that I've ever met, because she did Darby 3 times, did Mountain Phase once,
gosh.
and did Swamps twice.
Wow.
So like, she was hardcore. Would beat all the dudes on the ruck. She was like built like a shit brick house. But some like I said, unfortunately, she didn't make it due to patrols.
Yeah.
But the women that did make it, they made it because they passed the standard. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you can pass the standards without,
Right.
you know, the military as a whole lowering the standards so people
Right.
can pass, then you're able to do that job, in my opinion.
Yeah, my whole thing, and you know, is, hey, if they can, if they have the skills to do the job, they should be allowed to apply for the job.
Apply, yeah. And
Allow them to apply, at least. Give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If they can do the job, they can do the job.
Absolutely.
I'm looking here at Lindsay Danilak. She's a female former pilot for the 160th SOAR, the Special Operations Aviation Regiment.
People don't realize
Yeah.
that most of the pilots flying, when you're calling in fire missions, there's a good chance that that's going to be a female. And there's women that have stacked bodies overseas, and they're Apache pilots. And it's like, I remember my boys were telling me when they went to, or before I got there, they had this one pilot that they're like, I hope she's hot, because they were always talking to her over the radio, because she was one of the Apache pilots, and they'd be calling in fire mission after fire mission. And they're just like, we want to meet her so bad, because she like stacked so many bodies, and she had such a beautiful voice.
Oh my God.
That they would be so let down if like she just like was a clunker or something. Unfortunately, but that's I was like, yeah, women have a very vital role, and a lot. Even if they weren't infantry, there's a lot of jobs that they can do a lot of good. And
Absolutely.
Look, if you want to serve your country, I think you should get an opportunity to. You know?
Absolutely.
I'm of the standard thing is I'm kind of the same mind. You know, it's like we can't lower the standard. You have to maintain. We have to be an effective fighting force. You know.
Yeah, I mean, if the standard is set, then just
that's it.
Try to meet the standard. Yeah, I definitely could not. And I wouldn't even try.
But you did.
I don't want to do that. I want to be a photographer.
Absolutely. I want to go to Hollywood.
I did. And I am here.
Now here you are.
Here you are.
We're grateful.
We are grateful for you having here. Thanks for coming, by the way.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
But we're not done.
45 minutes in. Thanks for coming, by the way.
All right, okay, bye. Well, we're not done. We like to play, before we finish a podcast, we always play a game.
Okay.
Yeah. And
actually, I will be
Israel
conducting the game for both of them.
Okay.
Some of them harder than others, and others even more challenging. So if you think you're going to get away like tear-free, you're wrong.
Oh my gosh. I am a crier. I
I am too, actually.
Very vulnerable and emotional.
It's all frustration tears. It's not sad tears.
Okay.
It's all pain tears.
All right.
What are we playing, Israel?
We're going to play a game called Lifetime Movie or Action Flick.
Ooh, okay.
So
Let's play.
I'm gonna. This is for both of you, so you can
Okay.
team up if you want to.
I'm gonna try to not use my peripherals because I can see his
Oh,
screen.
okay.
It's
I'm
okay.
gonna turn it. Yeah.
But I'm terrible with these. Like Israel's the pop culture god here, and I
man.
take guesses from left field, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong.
Okay.
So you might need to help me out. here.
Okay.
So you can work together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the name of a movie, give you a movie title, and you have to tell me if it's a Lifetime movie or an action movie title.
I love it. Let's play.
All right, let's do the warm. This is the warm up. All right, warm up
right.
title. The name of the movie is Girl in the Bunker.
Girl in the Bunker. I feel like. So it's either Lifetime movie
Or action film.
movie.
I feel like that's an action movie.
Really? See, I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this one and say like it's a Lifetime movie because
Ooh.
bunker in German culture means house as a slang term. So could be like girl in the house.
Girl in the House.
Could be a foreign
Just
movie.
a regular house.
Just a regular house. So I'm gonna go with Lifetime movie.
No.
No, you're
No,
gonna.
no, no.
I think it's an action movie.
Okay.
Movie? All right. So Cameron says
Lifetime.
Lifetime. Jennifer
I
says
think it's an action movie.
it is a Lifetime movie.
Damn it!
Actually, yes.
Damn it! All right.
Yeah.
But I have the advantage. I've played these games before. I know how Chris's mind works.
It's a movie. It's about the kidnapping of Elizabeth Shove in the hands of Vincent
I should
Fallow.
have known.
Stars Julia Lennell. Yeah.
Pretty sure I read that book too.
Lifetime movie. Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. So now the real game begins.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
Here
that
we
was
go.
a warm up. So if you think that one was hard,
I'm gonna
just
come back
Prepare
strong.
yourself.
Okay, now I know.
First one is Blue Steel.
Blue Steel.
Blue Steel.
It's either a movie or it's a look from
A look from.
It's definitely a look.
Yeah,
Derek
It's a Zoolander
Yeah.
look.
It's the-
I mean, I feel like I have to go action film on this.
I'm gonna go action film too. 'cause
There's
for
no
some reason,
way it could be a
robots.
Lifetime.
That's real steel, but I'm gonna go with blue robots and say action movie.
I say
robots.
action movie as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an action movie.
Yes.
Yep. Let's
It's
do it.
All right.
1990. Stars actually Jamie Lee Curtis. She plays a cop.
Oh.
Blue Steel. Initially released version figure. Yeah.
Was this
Officer-
before or after True Lies?
This is before. So this is kind of when she's like kind of in her prime days. you
Yeah.
know, like her young woman days.
So good.
1990.
Like her Halloween days, huh?
Yeah.
Well, sometime. Well, that's the last 40 years of her life is the Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's still
Halloween
starring.
Since the 70s, I think, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 70s.
Okay, well.
Wild.
The original, one of the OG femme fatale, not femme fatale. What do they call them? The girls that are in the horror movies that are running away from the guy.
Scream Queens.
Scream
Yeah,
Queens.
Scream
There you go.
Queens.
Scream Queens.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
She's like the OG Scream
Yeah.
Queen.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is. So let's see. You guys are Lifetime. Jennifer, you're one down. You're 1 for 2,
Yeah.
and you're 2 for 2.
Yep, I'm keeping count. Don't worry.
The very competitive.
I am.
This one is Live Once, Die Twice. Live Once, Die Twice.
Live one.
Is this an
I
action
feel like
movie or
this
Lifetime
is a
movie?
trick, but I feel like it's like a trick to a trick.
You'd be amazed at how much crossover there is
Yeah.
in the titles. You know.
Live once, die twice.
Actually, that's a famous saying. All right, it might be a Banksy quote, even though Banksy didn't say this. It's unknown author, but they say you die. So you live once, but you actually die twice. You die the first time when you breathe your last breath, and you die the second time when your name is said for the last time.
I have heard that.
It's
Yes,
very,
I have heard
yeah,
that.
It's very deep.
That's a Banksy quote.
They tried, when I googled who said it, they're like Banksy said this one time, and he
God.
probably didn't say it. But
Does
he's
anybody know
famous.
what he looks like? Has
No
he
one.
been-
He's still faceless.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive in this day and age.
It is, well, he's a tagger.
Yeah.
He started out tagging, so technically, if you show his face, he'd get like charged.
Right, charged.
So
He's got to be enough. He's got the Banksy exhibit going on right
Yeah,
now.
it's very
But they
nice.
keep postponing the opening.
Yeah.
My boyfriend was supposed to go this morning, and he's like, they canceled it last minute. What? They postponed it again. It's like been
great.
3 times.
Oh no.
Anyways.
Anyway,
Live once,
back to the
die
game.
once,
twice.
die
Die
twice.
I think that is a Lifetime
I'm
movie.
gonna go with Lifetime. Sounds
It's like
way
it's
too
like
deep.
someone dies of cancer, and
Yeah.
there's like, let's say goodbye to
Maybe
Sarah.
they they have some terminal illness,
Terminal
and they had like a
illness, die
boring
twice.
they had like a boring life or something, and they're
Maybe
like,
they-
I wish I lived.
Maybe
more."
their heart is placed into someone, and then they start dating, and then
yeah,
they,
like a
you
heart
know.
transplant.
remembers.
Like a heart, yeah,
Isn't
remember
an
that
actual
movie?
movie?
It is a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Wait, where they do a
Someone
heart
gets
transplant?
a heart transplant, and then
They-
that person's heart is in love
And then
with
he
somebody
meets
or-
her and falls in
Oh
love with
yeah,
her.
I know what you're talking about. I've
So
heard
it's
that
like,
movie.
oh,
yeah.
I love her heart.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm obsessed with this girl named Rebecca. I don't even know who she is.
I feel
Love
like
that
she's got a
scar.
Yeah.
good heart, literally.
So Lifetime movie.
Lifetime movie, yeah.
All right.
Lifetime.
You are correct. It's a lifetime movie.
Boom!
Yes.
Ooh,
Let's
okay.
see, 2006 drama. Yeah, starts people we've never heard of because it's.
I want to
It's
know
a
what it's
Lifetime
about
movie.
now. Is it the cancer thing?
No. It looks like I'm looking at the poster. It looks like they go on like a boating trip. It looks like a dead calm kind of thing. They go on a boating trip and then somebody comes after them or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Searching.
Damn,
There's an
Lifetime.
FBI thing. Something about some money. Anyway, I don't care.
Real common Lifetime beef.
Let's do the next one. The next one is The Killing Game.
The Killing Game.
Is this an action movie or a Lifetime movie?
Killing Game.
The Killing Game. The Killing Game.
I think I've actually seen this one.
I thought it was when I read Killing Game, I saw Crying Game. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Squid
crazy.
Game?
The Squid
Squid
Game.
Game.
Squid Game?
Oh, triggered. Triggered.
Trigger hard.
Wait, no spoilers. I haven't finished it yet.
Okay.
Okay.
No spoilers.
I mean, you probably guess what happens. It's pretty guessable.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Guessable?
Let's let him
Yeah,
discover
okay.
it.
All right, sorry.
But it's
I
the
think-
journey.
I think The Killing Game is an action movie.
Okay.
I think it's more of a drama, so I'm going to stick with Lifetime.
The Killing Game, a drama? Okay,
Yes.
are you sure?
Yes, I'll
Final
stick with
answers?
that.
That's my locked in answer.
It is a Lifetime movie.
Woo!
Damn it. I'm not going to win this.
I know you got to
Not
you
gonna
have a
win
50-50
this.
shot. It's playing
Yeah.
against type because a lot of these have they sound like
Yeah.
action movies. You
They
know?
do.
Those
It's okay.
bastards.
Yeah.
Those Lifetime bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're never gonna stop.
They're never going to stop.
10 years
ever.
after the disappearance and murder of her 7-year-old daughter Bonnie,
I'm just putting myself in the shoes of
Eve
a
is
Lifetime,
contacted by a man
writer.
claiming to be her killer. Oh wow! Taunted
Damn.
by the man's mysterious clues about Bonnie's case, Eve becomes involved in a sadistic game where he threatens to kill another girl that he targeted because she
I
resembles.
thought
her
Lifetime
star.
movies were supposed to be like happy, like sad dramas.
I think we're thinking of like the Christmas movies.
I
And
need to
stuff
stop
like
thinking
that.
about Hallmark. I'm thinking
Oh,
about
Hallmark
I'm thinking
movies.
Hallmark.
That's a
Hallmark,
whole
too.
different type of movie.
Oh,
That's like
see, I
Candace
was thinking-
Cameron, like
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Christmas
like,
festival crap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need to think Lifetime is like dark.
Yeah,
Is it?
it's like drama.
See,
like
I've been thinking
relationship
Hallmark
drama.
this entire time. and
yeah,
I'm just giving
that's-
them the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
Like cheesy B film.
Mhm. Yep.
Which I love, by the
Which
way.
you can still. They're all pretty cheesy.
They're great at the
They're
holidays.
just darker cheesy.
dark or cheesy.
All right, next one. We got two more. Next one is Romeo Must Die.
Oh,
That's an easy one.
that's a
Action film.
Action film.
Are you sure?
Yes, locked
Yes.
All right, for
Yes.
bonus points, who stars in it?
Whoa.
Name the two stars.
Leonardo DiCaprio. No. Okay.
Fuck.
Nicolas
That's
Cage.
Romeo and
Forgot his
Juliet Must
name.
Die.
I'm gonna say Nicolas Cage,
His last name is Lee,
Good, good.
but I forgot the
Think
first
of a
name.
plane, a
David
fast
Lee
plane,
Roth, Jet Li.
Yeah,
go.
that's it. Damn
to
it.
walk you into that one.
Jet Li
And who
and
else stars in
Jackie
it? Who's
Chan.
the female star of the movie? Do you remember?
What is Romeo Must Die?
She died tragically in a plane accident. She was a pop star, R&B.
Oh,
Britney Spears.
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah.
Whitney
Aaliyah.
Houston.
Yes,
Brittany Houston Spears.
got it right?
Yeah, Aaliyah.
Britney
It was Aaliyah.
Spears.
Yep, Aaliyah. Aaliyah and Jet Li. Yep, starring
So I
Romeo
got
Must
half
Die.
the bonus points.
I didn't get any of them. I was like Nicolas Cage.
You said Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, I was just shooting shots. What movie is that guy not in?
It's not it. Yeah.
All right, good. All right, last one. This is for all the marbles.
All the marbles. I'm sitting pretty good right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. You're ahead by a
Doing
little
Darn
bit.
really well.
Usually
Usually this doesn't
I
happen.
don't think I can like win math that
because I'm not playing. If I was
Yeah,
playing, I would be
Israel's not playing.
dominating. All right, the last movie title is Second to Die.
Second to die. Is that
Second
two?
to die.
Is that two ND or the word SECOND?
Second TO die. Second to die. Like not the first one to die, and then the
No, I'm
second
saying
one
is it
to die.
spelled like how it sounds, or is it like a two with an N and a D?
Oh no, it's a second. It's the full word. Second.
it's
full
spelled
word.
out.
Okay, no, that is important.
That is very
because it
important.
could mean like,
Formatting.
do you have a second?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Or are you the second?
Is it like time?
You know, like
Is it like-
exactly.
Yeah, are you
Wow, you guys are
dying
thinking
at
about this
32
way
seconds?
too much.
Second to die.
Second to die.
I mean, I'm gonna lose anyway, so I'm gonna guess Lifetime.
Second to die.
Fucking Lifetime.
It depends on how you say it. You could say second to die, or you could say second to die. Actually, it would work for the
I'll go Lifetime.
Lifetime.
I'll go Lifetime.
All right, you are both correct. It is a
Yes!
Lifetime movie.
And I lost.
Actually, started. It's a 2002 movie. Erica Elaniak, and John Wesley Shipp, who was the guy who played the Flash in the original Flash television show, and also in the new television show.
Oh yeah, that guy.
None of you would know that, so
No,
but I would know that.
Well, good job.
Good job.
thank you.
man.
Too bad.
Good job.
That was
That's
fun.
amazing.
Man, I'm just riding high right
There's
now.
a close
so I can
second
be like, yeah,
place.
that was great.
There's a
That
close
was such a
second.
fun game because I won.
Well, folks, that's all the time we got for today.
Absolutely. That was a fun one.
Heartfelt thank you. Not that they're not all heartfelt.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
Jennifer,
Absolutely.
it's been amazing. It's been fun. You're amazing. Thank you for your service.
Thank you
I
for
hope we can hang
yours.
out more.
Yeah.
And a little bit of
But-
sorry.
Go for it. Yeah,
I just wanted to say, like, you were also featured in a Gameology Experts React video.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought that
Gameology
was
fan.
amazing. So if you want to go check them out,
Absolutely. If you want to tell the listeners where they can find you, go ahead.
absolutely.
I am on Instagram at Jennifer Brofer, and my website is jenniferbrofer.net.
Brofer is Brofer.
Brofer.
There you go, Jennifer. Brofer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have. If you guys want to keep up with us, we release a new podcast every single Wednesday. YouTubes are coming out the gate hot. Our editor is healthy and she is kicking. So tune in every Friday for our YouTube release. If you guys want to send us a message, we love to hear from you. We respond as soon as we can. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes it takes weeks, but we will get to you. And you can find that at what, Israel?
PCFMpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, PCFM Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. You can hang out with me if you want to on twitch.tv/myhappyself. We play a lot of fun games there. We're playing Halloween games right now for the
Halloween spooky season. It's almost up.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what won't be up? My streetwear brand KickGod. If you guys want to check that, you can find us on Instagram at KickGod Apparel or on our website, www.kickgodapparel.com. Now, cue music.